bring up the pictures that you want to work with to do portraits. What I do is literally split the pictures in half so they're big enough to cover more of the shirt. So I'll say we'll do like that. And print them out. Since I have 2 to do, I have this cute little dog for a friend's daughter's birthday, and this cute little cat that they want done. Hopefully it'll be to them by Valentine's Day, but they placed the order kind of late last night. Valentine's Day is on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. However, I print them out so I have the pictures at the right size that I need, so they will fit on the shirt nice and big, because people like them nice and big. And then we got the cat there. And then the next step is to set them together, glue them so they're one solid piece, and then cut out the stencils that I'm going to make to put onto the shirts. Okay, step 2 is putting the pictures together, which I do at a desk because I have to trim off pieces. I will use glue stick. It's simple. A little bit of tape, which I have on the table already, and an X-Acto knife with a ruler so I can keep everything nice and straight. So I will start with the cat. See, there's more bottom down here of the cat than there is of the top, so it's easier to remove the bottom piece. And see where it lines up on it. Make sure that it lines up nice and snug, which I always leave a little overlap so you can see where it's supposed to be. I'll take the glue stick, and I use purple so you can see that it's on there. It's kind of funny, but it works for me. That wipes right off pretty easy. We'll take this and line it up. Often I will do that with the tape, whatever it takes, but this time it looked pretty clean cut, so I skipped the step of the tape. So I will go this way, because I just want a little piece, and I don't want to have to make heavy cuts in places where it would need a thicker cut, like on a seam. So as the seam goes, there's less cuts. So on this one, I just kind of wiggle around the edges, and I like the little ring around the neck, so I'm going to cut the entire portrait off around there. So it has a little ring around the neck. And then I will do this. See, this is just mainly so I can get some background to it and put everything in its place. And this makes it cheaper and faster and easier and all that sort of stuff. It's not, you know, spending all day just sketching out the drawing. I am literally using the picture they sent. They seem to like it quite a bit. And that way I can get them done faster and cheaper because I'm using less paint, wasting less time. The other ones where I'm literally spending a lot of time, I do charge quite a bit more for. Like these ones, generally between, you know, $30 and $60 for a pet one. Human ones are usually more, but you know, they are harder to do for the most part. So as I'm doing this, these are where the main lines lie. so I can make sure that I am getting everything where it needs to be. If you can see through it, they're just kind of simple cut lines, just so I don't have to spend as much time. That way I can do them cheaper for people. So, a lot of people seem to like this, mainly because it is cheaper. This is one thing that a lot of people, they just like to have a big picture of their pet on the shirt. So they're not too picky, it seems like. And they often don't want to spend as much on this as, say, like a human portrait. But I do the same thing with the human portraits. They're usually around like $60 to $100 doing it this way, because it does take longer, it is more. But if they want the others, which I do too, I have to charge more for it because it takes more time, more work, more paint. But that's options for you. Some like the idea of the options. Some only see price. So it just depends on what it is people want to do. And try to do the, you know, something for everyone kind of thing. Okay. I need the pupil, so it looks like the cat's looking where it's looking on both eyes. I will turn it over and double check just to see. Make sure I see what I need to. Bridge of the nose. Then under the chin. These are like sketch lines when you're drawing them out, so they're not perfect. They're just give me some guidelines to work with. You know. There's the stencil I will use for the cat. Okay, step 3 is I use a little spray glue on the back of the stencil. I line the stencil up and I double check, make sure that they want writing and no writing, whatever it might be. This one wants a word. It's kind of a tiny word, but they want it up here above it. So I will make that word a little bigger and put the stencil on. And as the stencil goes, if it's too tight, you know, the paint might not flow through what the little lines are that I cut in it. So I'll do that and then I'll pull it off. Same way with the top, just to make sure that everything's loose enough for the paint to run through the stencil. Just to give me some guidelines, like I said, I'll show you what I mean. I always make a copy of what it is that I'm doing. So for the shirt, it's on the front of a large black and light blue. For the background and writing, and the seller buyer that wants it, put that on there as well, just so I make sure it goes with the right place, to the right place. And then I will take the paint, turn on the compressor, which I usually have on first. I will grab some of the blue paint. I will wrap it around. this here's, they call it a shield stencil, so it blocks the paint from going through, so I can still use the colors of the cat when I need it, but it'll lightly give me all the outside shapes I need as well. And they want, it looks like Biff, like B-E-F. So I'm going to use a big bubble, kind of bold print. Kind of step back and double check to make sure it looks pretty centered. And for some reason this is longer than this, so I'm going to go a little longer, which will make it look a little more centered as well. But I'll take the blue and I will outline letters. Kind of give it a little more fun look to it. See that? And then maybe some in here and in here. And then I will give it a little this, so it kind of almost looks two-tone kind of thing. And as I'm doing this, it's finishing up the letters and part of the background, so it has the light blue, kind of skyish kind of look behind it. But I'll also do a little white highlights on it, just to kind of spruce it up a little. And then I'll use the black, kind of spray in where I know that I cut these stencil lines, so I can see them a little more like a sketch line, like I was saying earlier. Sometimes having the black paint on top really lets you see where the work needs to be. You can see the line work easier. And then peel it off. And then put enough there. Doesn't really matter. It's just the edge of the ear. But if it doesn't show up where you want it to, just in case, like the bottom of the ear kind of comes down really far on this cat. So I just kind of like to make sure it's all there. So that is generally the next step, part 3 kind of thing. And from there, I just airbrush the rest of the cat. So I usually look at the picture I have on the computer screen, so I know where the colors go, you know, the browns and yellows and whatnots, just to make sure it looks good. So I will start with the yellow, because it's in a lot of places that people don't normally see it as. And it's not a lot of yellow, it's just kind of a hint of yellow as well. And it's most of the cat. out the yellow with the brown because they're kind of on the same spectrum. And then there is a little bit of brown everywhere where the yellow is. It's like a brownish yellow. Some of the brown is darker than the yellow. Certain places, not always, but it makes it look more like the color of the cat. And then there is some pinks in places that a lot of human eye does not see. Especially like in the ear. Everybody kind of cartoonily draws the pink in the ears, but there really is pink in the ears. A little bit around the nose, a little bit around the eyes. That don't show up too crazy. And then there is a lot to do with the actual black, dark green eyes. It's kind of a greenish yellow, so adding a little green to these should be the colors we're looking for. Start painting a lot of the black on. It'll fluctuate back and forth from color to color as it starts looking more like the cat. Bounce around. And a lot of times you need a kind of a lot of black so you can get the white to show up. It's just a hint of black, not like crazy black. True dog, of course, you can't see nothing, but like here, at the bottom of the chin, it won't show if there's no color to separate it. And up in here, like this grayish diamond shape on his head. Of color. Since it's straight cat, almost got tiger kind of stripes, you know. And then of course, colors along the eyes. It's got whites in them, but they won't show up white if it's not. Got a little color to it. go through with a bunch of white highlights and voila, you're done. Okay, I got a little of the white down. I'm going to show you more of what I do with the white, just so you can see how much time I spend on these things. Even when I'm trying to do them quick and cheap to help the customers out. When it comes to the fuzzy look, kind of have to do a bunch of little dots almost, but they're kind of like little hairs that we're putting on them by moving it just a little bit. And kind of gives it a fuzzier look than what it had. Okay. This cat literally has a lot of little white hairs everywhere. But if we did that, it would take forever and it would cost a lot more. But what it is, see that ear, I have to have the little fuzzes on it, but you go too light and you can't see that it's the back of the ear because of what it is. But you run this little thing in here over, and the rest of the cat looks kind of fuzzy again. So and it lightens the cat up a bit, because this is, I went a little darker on purpose just so when I hit it with the white little dots, and giving it the fuzzier look, it makes the whole thing look a lot lighter. I mean, it does have more or less black stripes, but they're kind of a grayish stripe now, because of the way the cat's actual stripes look. And then you sit here and do a bunch of these. So it looks like the little hairs sticking out of the ears. Same way when we get to the whiskers and such, they'll be like that as well. White hairs are a little more dominant. I do make them look a little more dominant, like right around in there. And then I go back to the little dots again. Okay, I'm gonna do a little more backtracking with some black and some white. And hopefully it makes it look correct. And with that, I should be finishing up. And then having it all done. Okay, do that. Let's see if I can't get some long, thin whiskers here that this guy has. If it's a girl, I don't know. Maybe some long ones in the ears, so they show up. Okay, let's see. A lot of little hairs everywhere, but can't do this all day. Okay. What do you think?